Hi and welcome to the second screencast in the Learn Django series. In this screencast, we look at some more features of Django. This screencast assumes that you've seen the first screencast in the series. You can get that on showmedo.com. It's called Learn Django, Create a Wiki in 20 minutes. Alright then, let's go ahead with the second screencast. So just to recap, this is what our application looked at the end of the first screencast. We have a wiki. It allows us to edit pages, and you can also go down to the title and create new pages. So that's what we did the first time round. Now this time round, what I want to do is I want to add a menu to all the pages. You can see this is the start page, but it's cumbersome to keep editing the URL to come here. So what I want to do is provide a menu with a link to the start page that is visible from all the pages. This is what we did last time, and we created these three templates. Now one way of adding this menu is adding the HTML to all these three template files. But I don't want to do that. There should be a better way to do these site-wide changes, and there is. Django gives us a feature known as template inheritance, and template inheritance allows us to specify one base file and allow all our templates to inherit from the base file. So let's see how it works. I created a file here base.html. I'm now going to take this and put it into base, and the place where the title appears, I'm going to create a block and call the block title. Like this. And the place where the body comes, I'm going to create another block and call it content. Now to create .html, I say that it extends from base.html, and then I can get rid of all this HTML here because it will pick up that code from the base. I just have to specify the values for the block. So I say block title and I put this here. So what Django will do is it will take this page name and replace the block in the base.html with this value, and I say block content. This is the content, like this. So let's see if it renders. It's still rendering properly. So you can see what's happening. It's taking the HTML from base.html, and in the template where I've specified the blocks like block title and block content, it replaces it with these values. So let's just go and edit all our templates. Here's another one, and extend them all from base. So that's the title, and that's the content, and let's edit view as well. Extend it from base. That's the title. And the content. Okay, so let's see if everything's working. Alright, so everything seems to be working. So now all our templates are inherited from base. We can go ahead and add our menu to base. So I'm going to add it over here and provide a link to the start page. And by just editing this file, it will get reflected in all the templates. Let's reload this. So you can see the menu now appears here. This is the view page, this is the edit page, and let's see the create page and the create page. You can see how all the three templates have picked up the menu now. And one of the features of template inheritance is that it's a great way to ensure that you don't have to keep repeating your template code everywhere. It's perfect for making look and feel changes or site-wide layout changes. Keep all your common template code in the base and make your specific templates just inherit those areas where they change and override them. So that's template inheritance. It's a great way to keep your templates in shape and maintainable. This is especially true if you have a lot of templates. Now let's try out something here. You can see here this is the name of the page start, and we print that start back over here. What if I actually put some HTML there like this? And you can see what's happening. Instead of displaying HR, what I entered in the URL, it's actually gone and rendered it. And if you look at the source, you can see there's a HR here, and the browser interprets that as a horizontal rule and draws the horizontal rule. Now this is bad because we don't want the user to be able to inject HTML into the page. It's a kind of security bug. So what we really need to be doing is to escape the HTML before it's displayed. You can see this is where it's displayed, the page name. We want to escape it before it gets displayed, and Django provides a way to do that using filters. So this is an example of a Django filter. You take the variable name, put a pipe, and give a function name. Escape is one of the inbuilt filters in Django. What this does is it will take escape, which is a function, pass it the page name variable. The function will escape the contents, and the output of that function will then be displayed here. So instead of displaying the page name directly, we display the page name after running it through the escape function. Let's reload this, and there you see it's now displayed the text. If you look at the source, the content has been escaped properly. So escape is one of these inbuilt filters, and Django has a number of inbuilt filters which can be very useful. It's a great way to transform the output just before you render it. And apart from having a lot of inbuilt filters, Django also allows you to write your own filters. And in a moment we'll see how you can do that. This is back to the start page, and you can see there's a bit of text here. This links to new page. A new page is written in camel case, that is capital small, and these kind of words are known as wiki words, and usually in a wiki the wiki words are automatically converted to links. So this new page would normally be a link pointing to that page. So this feature is currently not there in our wiki. Let's say we want to implement this. What we'll do is we'll write our own filter for this, and how we do that is we'll go to templates, go to our wiki directory, this is the application, and create another directory here called template tags. In this we'll need two files, one init and and wikilink.py. So this is going to be a filter module. A filter module can have multiple filters defined in it, but for now we'll just have one. So this is a basic template of a filter. We do some initialization here, then we call register.filter as a decorator followed by a function. So we are saying wikify function, register it as a filter, and our function gets one parameter. This is the variable that is going to be rendered. We take this value, do some transformations, and return back another value, and that is the value that's actually going to render. Now, in order to wikify a piece of content, we have to search for the wiki words and replace them with links. We are going to use regular expressions for this. Regular expressions in general for this kind of thing is not a good idea, because there can be cases where you have wiki words inside an attribute, a class name, or a URL, and we don't really want to be replacing those. But our regular expression doesn't differentiate, and it will replace everything. So think of it as a naive example. It will do for this example, but in general you probably want to do a better way of replacing these. So this is how our wiki word looks like. This is the regular expression, and over here we'll take values and do a substitution. Like so. So what we're doing here is we're taking value, we're substituting this, that's a wiki word, with this, which is a link to the wiki word, and returning that substituted value. So if we run back to our templates, and in view, over here we say load wiki link. That's the name of our Python template file or tag file, and over here we apply the wikify filter. So load wiki link will load wikilink.py, and wikify is a function within that file. Let's now reload this and see if it works. Okay, there's a spelling mistake somewhere. Okay, let's try that again, and there you see that new page is now been linked. So if I click it, it automatically goes to new page. Let's add another thing. You can see now Wikicamp is automatically a link. I didn't specify it as a link, and it goes to the page. So you can see how filters can be really useful. You can use it to modify your rendered text at the time of rendering, and you can create your own filters. It's so simple, it's hardly like 2-3 lines, and typically you would have your own set of filters for your purposes. It's a great way to take any processing you want to do out of your template file, move it into Python code, and then just use it in your template file. So that's it for filters, and we wrote our own filter here. Well, let's end this screencast with one more feature, and that is search pages. Let's say we want to have a way that you can actually search the wiki. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, let's head over to our views. What we want to do is, whenever someone goes to this URL search page, instead of displaying data from the database, we want to show a special page which gives you a form and allows you to search. So I'm going to define special pages here. Like this. And in the view page, we see if page name is actually a special page. And if it is, instead of going to the database, we execute our special page code. We pass it the request. So over here I now define search page, taking one parameter, the request, and let's just return a dummy page for now. Let's call it search.html. Okay, so if we go back to our templates, let's create search.html, and let's just extend it from base. And let's just for now put a header saying this is the search page, and we'll leave it like this for the moment. Okay, so reload, and you can see instead of displaying the content, it's now displayed as special page, search page. What we want to do is like put a form here so that user can enter some search terms and actually search the wiki. So to do that, we're going to use the Django newforms module. We'll just import it from Django, import newforms, forms. And the newforms module allows you to manage your entire forms from your Python code. So it implements form validation. It will automatically generate the HTML for your form so that you don't have to bother about keeping your form validation code, your form output HTML all in sync. Newforms will do that for you. So to use newforms, we first create a form class. I'm going to call it search form, which inherits from forms.form, and we tell search form what fields we want in our form. It's something like how we create Django models, but this time it's for forms. So I say we want to have a character field and apply a label. This is what will be displayed in the form in the HTML. Like this. So that's our form. It just has one field, and when we come to our search page, we'll create an instance of this form and pass that over to our template, and in our template code, let's just display that form. Right. So reloading our search page, you can see now a form appears here with the label enter search term, a character field, and a search button, and you can also see how it's automatically generated the HTML. All I have to do is enter the form here and it will automatically generate the HTML for this form which we have defined in our Python code here. Right, so we've got a form. Suppose I enter some text, we now have to process whatever we search. So on the search page we add a little code here. We say if this has been called as a post request, that means the user has actually submitted some data. So we need to check whether it's valid. If the user enters a blank data, it's invalid, so we should give an error message. So we do that like this, but instead of having an empty constructor, we send the post data to the search form, and then we can say if f is valid, then do something. If it's not valid, let's just handle this case first. We just repeat this. So you can see we have not done any validation code. We just pass the post data to the constructor and then ask if it's not valid. Let's see how this works. So this is our form. If I do search, it automatically says this field is required. So when you pass this request.post to the search form, Django will automatically do the validation for you. And if you say it's not valid and return render to response, when we render the form here, Django will automatically put the error message there saying that the field is required, so please enter some data. If I enter some data, then there's no problem. So now if the user has actually entered some data, we need to do the search. So this is a new one, page.objects.filter. So far we've been using page.objects.get, which will get a single item from the database. Filter allows us to put some conditions and get a list of items which match that condition. So I'm going to say all the page whose name contains the data we got. So f is our form. The cleaned data variable will actually contain the text which has been normalized. This means it will be converted to Unicode in case of a character field. If it's a checkbox, it will become true or false. So it gets converted into a Python object which we can use much more easily than having to manipulate strings. So we've got our pages, and we'll just pass that over to our template. And over here we say if pages, so this is a new construct, if it is true, then this code will be rendered. As you can see, we are just searching the page titles here. So that's what our search does. It just searches the titles. And this is another construct which you can use for looping through data in your template code. We'll display it as a list. So let's see what's happening here. We say if pages, then it displays the search result heading. and then loops through each of the pages. It creates a variable called page, which we can then use here. So it's something similar to your Python syntax, but not exactly the same. Okay, let's search. So I'm going to search for start, and you can see it's got the start page. Now we know we have a page called new page, so let's search for new, and there you have it. It's found the new page. I'm going to create another page called new page, and let's do a search for this new, and see now that it's found both the pages. If I search for page, you can see it's picked up old page as well. So that's basically a simple search application using Django newforms. Let's just add this out to our menu. So if I reload this, okay, you can see that now appears in the menu. So that's a quick overview of Django forms, and let's just have one last look at how powerful it is. Let's say we want to modify it. We want to also search content. Right now we are just searching the page name. I'm just going to add one field here. And if the form is valid, so this is the same as searching the page name, except we are searching the content field. And we'll pass this as well. And in our template, we display that. So we can just cut and paste this. Okay, let's load this, and you can see we've automatically got the field. We didn't have to do any code for it. We just defined it in our Django class, and it's rendered it properly. Now if I type search, it searches the page name. Let's see, one, not found. Now I add search content, and it didn't find it. Okay, let's search for list in the content, and you can see start page is now displayed for the content. If we tick this, it automatically gets converted to a boolean. So we can just say if f.cleanData search content, then add the content as well. Let's just create a new page called list page. And now let's search for list with the content, and you can see now it's resulted in a page name search as well as a content search. So that's a quick overview of Django forms. You can see that implementing this form with validation, so if you leave it blank, will actually take no more than 10 minutes using Django's new forms library. It does the validation, it does the cleaning up of data. So all you have to do is define your form in Django code. That's just a couple of lines, and then you can use it in your function by just calling it as if it was a normal dictionary and taking the appropriate action. So that's an overview of Django forms. And we've seen in this screencast, we'll just wrap up the screencast here. We've seen in the screencast how we can use template inheritance to clean up your template and move common template items out into a base template. We have seen how you can use filters, both inbuilt filters as with the escape function, and how we can write our own filters in order to do the Wikify. And we have seen how we can use Django new forms to handle form contents, in this case for searching pages in our wiki. So that's a quick overview of a few more areas of Django. We'll just wrap up the screencast here. Hope you enjoyed it, and as usual, keep your comments coming in so that we can see where to take it from here. Thanks for listening.